Writing in English gives you the creeps? Too difficult? You get lost and can finish your essays or written assignments in English? Tea with Me is here to help you out. It's time to write everything in English, especially your essays for TOEFL and IELTS. Time to brush up your skills and improve your writing proficiency. Get your coffee and let's write. Hello guys! Tea with Me here brings you the writing task number 1 for your TOEFL exam. It may seem that writing in English is very complicated, but it's not, especially when we are talking about a TOEFL exam. And why is that? Because you have a structure to follow. You have a pattern to follow. And that's exactly what I'm presenting you guys today. A pattern to practice with and guarantee that you are going to score high. But before we start with that, like this video, share it with your friends that are studying for TOEFL, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any classes that are going to help you pass on your TOEFL with the high score that you need. So let's get to it. Your first writing task, just remember that you have 2, it's an integrated task. That means that you have 2 things to work with and the writing part. You are going to read a text, which is an academic text, and then you have 3 minutes to do that. You are going to listen to a recording, and then the clock starts ticking. You have 20 minutes to write a 200 to 350 words. 200, it's pretty good essay, okay? So let's keep that number in our heads, right? So the text that you are going to work with is most of the time from the areas of biology, business, chemistry, arts, but don't worry about it. Don't freak out. You don't need to understand biology. You don't need to understand history or arts. They are providing you everything you need to work with in the text and in the listening. So it's important that you use these 3 minutes that you have to read the text wisely. You can see here that the text is not very big. Most of the times the text has this structure and the length that you are seeing here on screen, okay? And you have to work wisely because you are going to see the text again. You have access to the text while you're writing your essay. So that means I can skip reading it? No. And why is that? Because the text prepares you for the listening. And how does it happen? Well, when reading the text, make sure that you understand rather than taking a lot of notes. You need to jot down, to write the essential information, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. And these notes, this information is going to help you prep for the listening. And why is that? Because the listening always disagrees with the text. So if you understand the text pretty well, if you understand the main idea and the reasons from the text, you have a pretty good notion of what is coming in the listening that you have ahead. So the question that appears to you after the listening is pretty much the same all the time. Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they cast doubt on the specific points made in the listening passage. It's pretty much this. Pay attention. They want you to summarize the points made in the lecture. So your focus is always writing more about the listening rather than the reading. Okay, so the main idea in the reading, which you need, by the way, is usually the last sentence in the first paragraph. So that information in the end of the first paragraph is extremely important to you. That's the main idea of the text. And the main idea in the listening is stated in the beginning, right in the first seconds that the speaker or the lecturer starts talking. So these 2 pieces of information are extremely important to you. You need them on your composition. So what notes do I need? When it comes to the text, the main idea, which is stated in the last sentence of the first paragraph. And reason 1, 2, 3, and the details. Word of advice here. The first sentence of each body paragraph is usually a reason. So, the last sentence in the first paragraph is something that I need. The first sentence in each body paragraph is also something that I need to have in mind, to keep those ideas in my head when I'm listening or when I'm writing. You don't need to write down a lot of things right here because, as I told you before, you can come back to the text later on, okay? Then you are going to listen to the lecture. What do you do? Main idea and the 3 reasons why the person disagrees with the text and the details. The writing itself asks you to point out more information from the listening. So, if you are not very good with this listening and writing down kind of thing, you better start practicing because this is a skill. You can listen to podcasts, you can listen to TED Talks and practicing writing down main ideas and essential information from it. So you can use that as an advantage while listening to the lecture during your exam, okay? So you have to think like a reporter. You organized your notes, you wrote them down, then what do? Think like a reporter. Your opinion doesn't matter, and keep that in mind. It's a trap when most of the test takers think, oh my God, I don't have enough words to finish my essay, and then they start writing down their opinion on the topic. This essay don't care. The people correcting your essay here don't care about your opinion. What they want you to do is report the facts from the reading passage and what you heard, especially what you heard. I have everything down. I'm going to report the facts. What is a safe bet? How do I properly write my essay? You need an introduction, you need body paragraphs, and you need a conclusion, or not so much. I'm going to get to that part of the conclusion in a few seconds. So the introduction basically introduces the general topic, introduces the author's opinion on the topic, and introduces the counter opinion from the listening. The introduction is just the start of what is about to come, okay? So it's going to be something like that. The article introduces the topic of the writer says, the lecturer disagrees, he says. This is an example, this is a template that you can stop the video now, copy it, and practice when you are working with your first essay for the TOEFL. Then you go for the body paragraphs. You can divide them according to this template that I'm showing you guys here. Of course, you can give a touch of yourself, not your opinion, but I mean a touch when it comes to word choices or structure or transitional words and phrases that you are using at this point, okay? So what you have to keep in mind, you need to introduce the authors from the reading, the first, the second, and the third point with the details. You wrote them down. Then you are going to state the speaker in the listening why that person disagrees, the reasons and the details they are giving it, and you explain that in details. You explain why the lecturer disagrees. You have here on your right a template that you can follow. So you can stop again and you can copy this information so that you are not going to miss anything important from it, okay? So do I have to memorize this structure? Do I have? No. This is a template. Your first essay would be interesting that you would have this as a template to follow so you can see your essay as a whole, complete, so you can understand what you are doing here. Okay, so this is an idea on how to work with the essay introduction and 3 body paragraphs. Believe me, if you follow most of this template, you are going to reach your 200 words with this amount of text pretty good. Okay, because reasons, 3 reasons and details to work with, plus the 3 reasons from the reading, it's a lot of vocabulary to use, okay? And then what I mentioned before, conclusion. Why is it optional? Shouldn't all the texts have a conclusion? Indeed, I'm the kind of writer that I like to conclude everything that I write. But if you take into account that you have just wrote an entire text that is providing all the information that is essential from the reading and from the listening, the conclusion is not so important. Do I lose points? No, you don't. Because what's important is the introduction and the three body paragraphs. What you have to keep in mind, you have 20 minutes, guys. So you have to take at least 3 minutes to self-correct, to edit your composition, and please do so. It's not like your computer screen that's gonna highlight the mistakes for you. You have to come back and you have to self-correct your composition. So if you need at least 3 minutes for that, practice with your watch, practice with the clock. Most students don't finish the body paragraphs from this essay when they are unable to perform this essay properly because they don't practice with the watch. So they lose time, they lose track of the time. They don't pay attention to that, so they just don't finish. It's not about finishing the conclusion. They don't finish the body paragraphs, and that's the most important part of your essay. Okay? If you have time left after editing, you can write one simple sentence as a conclusion. If you don't have time, leave that out. It's better to save time to edit your composition, to check for spelling, grammar structures, transition words, and everything else that may make you lose more points rather than the conclusion. Yes? So basically, I have just shown you guys the templates to work with the first essay. This is pretty much how the structure of this essay is supposed to be built. So my recommendation, watch the video again, write this template down, find some samples from this essay and work with them. Okay, read the text, listen to the lecture, and try to write your essay using this template. But you have also to study grammar. You have also to make sure that the spelling of the most difficult words in English is correct, and you have to practice with the clock, making sure that you have at least 2-3 minutes to edit your composition. Not that hard to work with a writing assignment that has a template to be followed, right? So that's pretty much your first task. 200 words, 20 minutes, an integrated essay. You read a text, you listen to a recording disagreeing with the text, and then you are supposed to explain that on your writing assignment, okay? So that's it for this first writing. But remember, we have 2. And next week, we are going to work with the second composition, which is a pretty more challenging one because you don't have material to work with. You are going to work with yourself, and then your opinion is relevant to that composition, but not to this one. So I hope you have enjoyed these tips, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get all the Tuesday lessons, the TOEFL prep lessons, and the Friday lessons, advanced grammar, because these lessons can help you score high on your TOEFL exam. So I see you guys next Tuesday and on Friday to check on your grammar.